Hey guys, how's it going? I know it's been a while. I've been busy preparing for the Riftbound Vancouver Regional Qualifier. Um, After the release of Unleashed, I had the ticket to go to Vancouver RQ, and I decided that I really wanted to put some time in and do my best. This is the first time I'd ever been able to compete in a tournament that was like of any reasonably large size. 1,800 plus players in the event. Very, very exciting. My main goal, or like the aspirational goal for me, was to get top 64. Like kind of the initial goal was to get top day 2, and then like eventually hopefully hit top 64. I'm happy to to say that I did end up getting 38th. Got 38th in the tournament playing Azir, with a relatively standard Azir list, primarily based off the Azir list that won the Cool Stuff tournament by Nova Riftbound a couple weeks before the Vancouver Regional. It was the same weekend that Sydney happened, and I used that as kind of the basis for the Azir deck. So I hit 38th out of the entire tournament, and I was the number 5 Azir, I think. Pretty good. I placed higher than a lot of like notable faces. So here I am at 38th. I placed higher than the best of Draven, the best of Rek'Sai, some CTCG players like Coco Lopez, as well as Awesome Rosum, and I believe I placed higher than Colin Kaiser as well, I believe. Yeah, Colin Kaiser's right here, Gale's right here. So a lot of best ofs that I finished better than them, so I'm extremely satisfied with the result that I got. I'm probably going to head over to the LA RQ as well. I think I might just metal card hunt or side event farm, considering I did get my RC invite for this. So yeah, super happy with how this ended up. There's a lot of interesting things, particularly with the list that I ran. So this is the list that I ran. So obviously the Azir Legend, it was Yellow Azir as the chosen champion because it's just better and more consistent. 2 Vi Peacekeeper. Vi Peacekeeper has turned out to be like an absolute superstar, and I think you'll see like at least 2 copies in every Azir list that does reasonably well. It's extremely strong. The gears are like relatively standard as well. It's like 3 of all the good ones, 2 Soul Sword because Soul Sword kind of sucks and you don't really need the 9th equipment going first. And the other tech kind of here is Sacred Shears. Sacred Shears is a card that's been cut from a lot of Azir lists. Azir needs some type of card draw. So this slot, this like 2 of Sacred Shears slot, likes to be like Shadow's Call, Sacred Shears, or Sacrifice. Like you want like some combination of these, 2 to 3 copies, 2 to 3 copies of this. And so it would be usually be like 2 Sacrifice, 1 Shadow's Call, 2 Shadow's Call, 1 Sacrifice, something like this. And this version of the list runs 2 Sacred Shears instead. Really interesting. I'm like not a huge fan of the card because I hate recycling runes, but I liked it more than Shadow's Call, and I liked it more than Sacrifice. I actually like Sacrifice the least out of all those 3 options. I think Shadow's Call I'm considering putting in over Sacrifice and over some other cards inside the list. It's a really interesting inclusion. If you go to the Yomi's place, it tracks all the best ofs and also some other interesting stats that you can look at for each deck as well. So if you look here, this is the Azir leaderboard for the Vancouver RQ. Has like matchups, and it also shows like what ranking you were. So I was the 5th best Azir. But kind of what I want to point out is on the right here, it has the deck card stats. There's some interesting things here, but the one thing I wanted to note was that cards that overperformed on points among loaded list, Sacred Shears had a plus 9.1 points versus the 13.1 average. So this is match points, right? So every win that you get 3 points. So on average, the players that were running Sacred Shears won 3 more games compared to the lists that were not, and it was only included in 4 lists. My deck being one of those lists that was running Shears, and I believe I ran like the most Shears. I think one of the other lists, I think it was the Rat lists, or one of these decks above me had 1 copy of Shears. I was running 2 copies of Shears. So Shears actually, interestingly enough, seemed to be like a very interesting inclusion that kind of set my Azir list slightly apart from the other Azir lists and seemed to overperform relative to the expected value for Azir. So really happy about identifying this inclusion. This is a deck. So if you look at the tournaments leading up to the Vancouver RQ, there was like a few interesting tournaments that you could look at that had some decent Azir results. There was the best placing Azir from Sydney, the Sydney RQ. There was the Azir that won the Cool Stuff tournament on the same weekend as Sydney, and then there was like the Tianjin regional as well, that the Azir actually won. So there's like a lot of different places to draw kind of inspiration from, and I looked at all of them, and the actual one I liked the most was the Cool Stuff list that had Sacred Shears. So the basis or the differentiating factor of this list compared to the Sydney and the Tianjin list is the Sacred Shears Desert's Call package. I feel like it's a really interesting package. I think there's like a few different packages that you can run in Azir. Like one is kind of like Shadow's Call Scuttle Crab, and then there's like Sacrifice Unsung Hero, which isn't real, but Sacrifice itself is kind of an interesting card that you can put in. And then there's Desert's Call Sacred Shears, and I really like the Desert's Call Sacred Shears just because it helps fill out the mid game a little bit better, since you have more reasonable cards that you can play turns 2 to 4 that are actually good and not just holding up mana and doing nothing. The rest of the list was extremely standard. The only other thing that was like kind of interesting is a lot of decks were running 1 salvage. 1 salvage main, 2 salvage side, 3 call the weak side. I switched around, so I did 1 call the weak main, 2 call the weak side, and then 3 salvage on the side. And then like Death Grip was like fine. Death Grip was like okay, and it was I think Death Grip was the card that probably underperformed the most over the course of the weekend, but that's all right. Overall, extremely happy with the list, extremely happy with the performance, being able to go to an RQ for the first time, getting 38th. Super happy about it. I was not chasing best of Azir. If I was trying to get best of Azir, I would have had to finish what was this, 5th? I would have had to finish top 4. That's not happening. So, you know, I'm all right with where I ended up. Super happy with that. I'll quickly go over, I guess, the matches. There was some like interesting stuff. I had my round 1 bye, obviously, because I have like infinite buys. My first round outside the bye was against a Draven. Kind of an incredibly horrific pull. Notably, Azir's like 2 worst matchups are Draven and Lilia. I played it against a few Lilias in like the pre-regional and the Nexus night on the Friday, and I realized that matchup is pretty horrific. So pulling Draven in round 2 was pretty terrifying, and I also lost the die roll. And my opponent going first plays Overzealous Fan turn 1. Turn 2, he like walks onto a battlefield and then plays Vex Apathetic on top of it. Then turn 3, he plays Ferris Foreigner on top of that and walks Vex back to the base. Turn 4, walks Vex onto the other battlefield and puts a second Ferris Foreigner onto that battlefield. And I was like, shit, I'm like guaranteed to lose this game. And then I won that game. I don't really know how. Kind of the units he was resolving were infinitely better than mine, but all the interaction worked out way better for me the following turn. Like he would like try to gust something, I would discipline, and the gust just doesn't do anything. And he would like Starcross, and I had Defy for it and stuff like that. So the following turn, after the double Ferris Foreigners were on the battlefield staring at me, I was able to beat through all the mechs beat through the Ferris Foreigners and the Vex successfully, and then also stave off the 3 mechs or the 4 mechs that came at me afterwards. That's how I was able to win game 1. Don't know how, but Azir is a really good deck, and that's why. Round 3, I matched up against a Jhin, and I lost. My game 1, I win the die roll and then miss my 2-drop, which is incredible because I have 10 in the list. I have my 8 equipments and 2 Desert's Call, and I completely whiff it. And if I didn't, I was gonna win that game instantly because I was Ord's Forge going first with 2 BF swords in my hand. So unfortunately, I lost that. Because game 2, he's able to side in the 3 thermo beams, so not a great matchup for the Azir. Match 3, so I'm 2-1 at this point. I go against LeBlanc. This was like, if I remember correctly, it was like almost a hook list. It like felt like a hook list. It played like a hook list. It ran Rift Herald, and I never saw him resolve hook a single time. I don't know if he just got unlucky and never drew it, or if he was just playing hookless LeBlanc, which, you know, I think hookless LeBlanc is actually better than hook LeBlanc, but I don't think you're supposed to run Rift Herald in it. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure. So I 2-0'd that guy. Next, I played another LeBlanc. This one was a hook LeBlanc, and it was not like particularly close. I felt like the Azir matchup into hook LeBlanc was favored for Azir, especially when you draw all your charms. When you side the second charm in, you drop both of them and kill 2 Carthus's, you're pretty good shape to win that one. So I'm feeling better now. I'm 4-1 going into round 6. Round 6 is against Aurora MF, and this Aurora MF was, I don't know how he was 4-1. He was like okay at MF, but there was like some decisions that he made that were incorrect, like objectively incorrect, and there was a battlefield choice that was probably incorrect as well. What happened was I ran onto Hall of Legends with Eye of the Herald, Sand Soldier, and he like lets the trigger resolve, and then gusts, and then Flurry of Blades. So like I let the gust resolve, and then I defy the Flurry of Blades, and I get to score the point, and he like loses out on his Flurry of Blades. It was like really bad, and his going first battlefield, I think, was like Frozen Fortress, the one that like deals 1 to everything there. I like don't even think that works with Elder Dragon, so I think that's just like incorrect. But yeah, so that one was like surprisingly easy. I don't know how he was 4-1, so I got to 5-1 really easily. Then at 6-1, I got to play against a Diana. I think this Diana list was like relatively strange. It was like a Mindsplitter Rasa style Diana deck. I think like generally speaking, the Diana Azir matchup is favored for Azir, especially like the first game, because I get to run 3 Defies, and like most Dianas will not be running that much gear removal. Although if you are playing like the LNCQ Diana list that's mainboarding 3 copies of gear removal, I think the matchup is like a little bit more awkward, and probably skews Diana favored, but I'm not entirely sure. I haven't really played against the LNCQ version all that much. But that matchup was relatively straightforward. I didn't think it was like too bad, and I was able to win that. So I won that, and I was 6-1 for day 1, and then I played against a Rengar for the last round. This Rengar is like, I haven't looked at the lists, but it was very similar to the Sam D Sherman list that got second. It had the same game plan, right? You like play the good ambush units, you play the good combat tricks, you play Thrill and Hunt, all that stuff. And it was extremely close. I think my opponent probably misplayed a little bit more than he was allowed to. I think I made, minor misplays, but it wasn't too bad. So I was able to take that 2-1. So I was able to go into day 2 7-1. I was extremely happy with my performance, especially considering I lost round 3 to a Jhin. Winning 5 in a row after that was pretty good. After that, going into day 2, 7-1, I play against an Annie. So this Annie that I play against ends up finishing probably around 15th, I think. He almost got Best of Annie. He was just, the Best of Annie Prismatic System, obviously, was 10-2-1. And my opponent here in my round 9 was finished 10-3. Yeah, he was a very good player. I'm very impressed with the Annie deck. It made me want to pilot Annie. I played Annie in the next night when I came back, and it's a pretty fun deck. But yeah, nothing too much to say about that deck. I think my matchup was a little bit awkward. I made like one miscalculation in game 3 of the Annie deck. I got really greedy for an Arise. I had like 2 Eye of the Heralds out on the battlefield at 7 mana. I had another Eye of the Herald in hand. So what I did, and I also have Defy in hand. So my hand like contains a bunch of cards. It's like Defy, Eye of the Herald, Arise. And my opponent's obviously holding mana because he's Annie. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to play Eye of the Herald and play Arise and try to get my value out of this. He's holding to like 7 next turn, so it doesn't really matter if he abandons it. I'm okay with getting abandoned because I can play Eye of the Herald, and if the Arise resolved in a way better spot because I get an extra Sand Soldier and I get to play my Eye of the Herald. So I do that, and it gets abandoned, which is like fine, sure, whatever. I don't like care that much that it gets abandoned. It like obviously sucks, but I'm still in a really good place to win the game. Then what happens is he plays their own win the following turn. and I lose on the spot. I lose, right? Like, he kills all 3 of the Either Heralds. I don't have any more equipment in my hand. I lose the game. It was extremely close. We were like going into time. Very, very close. I could have played for a draw. I think I had a line that plays for the draw, but oh well. I'm like 100% sure, like thinking back, that I had a line that played for the draw, which is, oh well. Yeah, I didn't get the draw. That's fine. Round 10, I played against Sivir. The Sivir was quite decent at piloting Sivir, but game 1 is like always very sketchy. Azir versus Sivir is very sketchy. That then like 7 of your sideboard cards go in for the Azir, Aurora matchup, and the matchup becomes like relatively Azir favored after that point. Especially if they ended up playing aspirants game 1. Usually they don't. Usually play aspirants when they're on their going second game, but yeah. Round number 11, so I'm going into this 8-2 at this point, and I'm like pretty certain I need to be 10-3 in order to get top 64. So I'm still playing and trying to win as best as I can. So I play against this Master Yi, and I win the die roll. He misses his turn 1 play, and then I win that game. He like, okay, so basically the story with this game, or with this set, was my opponent. So Master Yi Azir is favored to Master Yi, like somewhat significantly it favors into Master Yi, but Azir does have some ways to pilot in the deck to not fall too far behind. This Master Yi player that I played against did not respect the interaction that I was potentially representing. He did not respect it as much as he should have, and played into a lot of stuff that he shouldn't have. For example, the game 3, going first on War Camp, I have Eye of the Herald. And so I run my Eye of the Herald Sand Soldier in, create the recruit onto War Camp. I'm holding on there with 5 might because the Sand Soldier's 3 and the recruit's 2. And I'm holding 2 mana up because I have Eye of the Herald Sand Soldier in my base as well. So this is turn 2. I have 2 mana up, and I'm holding Discipline. He untaps and he plays Rengar onto the battlefield, onto War Camp. Rengar's a 7 at this point because he's attacking and it's on War Camp. I have Discipline in hand, and I play it, and I trade with the Rengar, and that is completely illegal. You're not allowed to let your Rengar die there. You're throwing away the entire Rengar, which is like the most valuable unit in your entire deck, for a Sand Soldier and a recruit and a Discipline. It's like completely not worth it, and he loses the game on the spot. So that's how he lost game 3. He lost game 1 because he walked Master Yi onto a point with Triforce. So, and then he charmed in Azir. So Master Yi's holding as an 8, and then he has Punch Fist in hand. So Master Yi's holding as a 13, and I was like pretty sure that he had Punch Fist in his hand when he charmed Azir, because I had a bunch of Sand Soldiers on the board as well. So I am like, sure, if I can blow him out here, he needs to have exactly. So he's 3 mana up after the charm. He needs to have exactly Punch Fist on guard for this play to be bad for me. If he has Punch Fist on guard, it's like kind of bad, and if he has Punch Fist Discipline, it's like kind of bad. But essentially what happens is he charms in the Azir, and I bring in 15 might onto the battlefield, and he has 13 after the Punch Fist, and he does not have the Discipline. He does not have on guard with the 2 mana up. So he loses the game on the spot because I conquered a 4 on his turn, and then I hold to 5. Then I just develop, and he had spent all his runes already because he Triforce equipped plus charm plus Punch Fist on the turn that he did that. So he deramped himself to 0, and then, or like as close to 0, and then he lost game 1 from that. So my opponent didn't respect the options that I had, and so yeah. Match number, or round 12, going into this 9-2 at this point. Playing against the best of Kaisa. The list is like pretty reasonable. I think Azir is like reasonably favored into Kaisa, like especially game 1, but like games 2 and 3 is like kind of sketchy. I like really played into a Thermal Beam on game 2 that I like probably shouldn't have, but I didn't really have a choice. If he doesn't choose to rip the turn 3 Thermal Beam on me on that turn specifically, I was pretty fine in that game, because I was going to play a turn 4 Rise and then win the game off the turn 4 Rise. I think I made one mistake that game, which is I hit the guards, costing me the power, which caused me to play my Rise 1 turn later. I could have played a Rise in turn 3, obviously because I'm going first. I could have played a Rise in turn 3, and that probably would have been a little bit better, but I didn't want him to be able to conquer over my Sand Soldier that was on the battlefield so easily, and I had a Brutalizer in base, so hiding the guards made sense, but it probably cost me the game. But realistically, Kai'Sa's running like 1, maybe 2 Thermal Beams on the side. The chance that the Kai'Sa draws exactly Thermal Beam on turn 3 and is willing to rip it at that point exactly, it's like not super high. So I decided to play into it, and I lost because of that. So be it. And then last round I played against Rek'Sai. It was like a Storm Rek'Sai. I lost the die roll, so I was really scared, and I lost game 1, which was really scary, because then I was pretty aware that I had to win his Arena's Greatest game going second, which is like always scary. He had like a really great opener too. He like Daring Poe turn 1, and then turn 2 he like Void Rushed into a Hopeful and Honest Broker. He like plays the Hopeful for free, and he plays second Hopeful from hand. So on turn 2 he's developing 8 Might. It was really scary. I was able to beat that. The way I was able to beat that was I brutalized the Sand Soldier turn 1. Turn 2 I think I like Soul Sword, Sand Soldier, walk onto Hall of Legends, play second Sand Soldier, hide guards. He like walks the Hopeful onto the other battlefield, scores to 3 because it's Arena's Greatest with 1 Hopeful, and they walk the other Hopeful into the other battlefields. I reveal guards and pick up the Brutalizer. So the Brutalizer just like eats the Nox Hopeful for the trading of the 1 Sand Soldier just on the Hall of Legends, and then he's like not able to conquer that battlefield, so I hold to 3. Holding 3 means that I can kill the other battlefields and go to 4, and then win the game on the spot, because I'm conquered at 4, and he's at 3, which means next turn he gets to 5 and then 7, and then I get to go to 6 and 8. So I win. The way these tempo versus tempo matchups go is whoever holds first wins. Whoever holds first once wins the game on the spot. So I was able to do that. Finish the tournament 10-3. Extremely happy. 38th place. But yeah, so that's kind of a quick rundown of how the tournament went, how I was thinking, how it progressed. If any questions with the list or any gameplay tips, just let me know. I'm always happy to talk about Azir. I'm probably dropping this deck. The deck is pretty good, but there's like some things I'm not super happy with. So I'm trying out some other decks, probably leaning towards Diana, but we'll see. But yeah, thanks for watching.